your tie.
Thanks. Pamela Geller, I welcome to the Sharpshooters, les francs-tireurs. I read your book, The Post-American Presidency, and you basically you depict Obama as the devil incarnated.
No.
I mean, don't you think it's counterproductive to use such extreme words and extreme formulas and extreme sentences?
He is Islamophilic. Now, I don't know if he's a Muslim. I don't care. It's not important to me. What's important to me is his actions. What's important to me is, by their fruit you shall know them. And so we know him. And he favors Islam over all other religions. I have a problem with that.
You really believe he is a very dangerous threat to the country? I mean, that you don't like his politics, it's okay. I mean, that's it. But to depict him as the most dangerous threat ever in the history of America for the country, I mean, this seems a little bit extreme.
I never said he was the most dangerous threat in the history of America. We have suffered gravely many various threats. But he is the most dangerous man.
He's not dangerous. I mean, you may not agree with his politics, but dangerous man?
I find him to be very dangerous. I find him to be dangerous because he's aligning with our enemies, and he is abandoning our allies.
For me, a dangerous man is like somebody like George W. Bush, who sent people to war on the wrong reasons, and he lied.
Again,
Iraq, and he sent young people getting killed there. I mean, this is dangerous.
Okay, this is a false narrative. Okay, because Iraq he had weapons of mass destruction. It's not why we went to war. It was one of the reasons why we went to war.
Saddam Hussein must disarm. There's no negotiations. Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy. The only way to treat them is like they are, cold-blooded killers, and run them down.
We never found those weapons. Well, they don't exist.
Well, that's not true. They did exist because we found mass graves with hundreds of thousands of bodies. We know that he had weapons of mass destruction. Now, are they in the Syrian Bekaa Valley? Do we know where he moved them? We know he had them. He killed hundreds of thousands of people with those weapons. George Bush, I subscribe to the Bush doctrine. Either you're with us or against us. There's no middle ground here. You cannot sit on the fence because evil prospers when good men do nothing. And as far as Obama, you have yet to see the poisonous fruit of his policy. You've yet to see it.
But depicting him as a socialist, I mean, come on, he wants to give basic health care coverage to every American. I mean, is that bad? I mean, he's not a communist, come on.
He is a communist.
He is a leftist, of course he's a leftist.
So you admit.
He's a leftist, but not a communist.
He is a communist, and actually his influences, and this is not his fault, were all, from the time that he was at his mother's teat, were all communist influences. His mother was a communist. She met his father in a Russian language class at the height of the Cold War.
You really believe he is a communist?
Yes. His friends are all communists. His advisors subscribe to socialist.
This is what I talk about when I think it's counterproductive. I mean, some people may agree with you when you say he's a leftist and I don't like his politics and this and that. Okay, it's okay. But speaking about a communist, Obama, come on now. Many people say, okay, now, I don't follow you on this.
I don't want them to follow me. And I don't want them to follow the media, because there's so much disinformation in the media. The media has become the propaganda arm of the left, period. He clearly subscribes to all socialist policies. Health care, first of all, in this country, everybody was getting health care. Everybody that went to an emergency room was getting health care. And I believe that the American health care system was the best in the world.
The best in the world?
The best in the world. Why do all world leaders come here for their health care? Why? Do you really believe for 1 second that a student, the #1 student in their class, the valedictorian, is now going to go through 12, 15 years of school, give up their life, so that you can tell them that they make $5 a test, or you can tell them that some clerk is going to tell them they can't do a test, or they can't be paid for a test?
Thousands of people ruin themselves just paying for their health care.
You're going to destroy the health care system is what you're going to do, because you can't pay for what you're proposing. And so you're going to have death panels. Sarah Palin was right. There will be panels that say, you know what? No, we will not pay for this because it's only going to give you 6 months, or it's only going to give you a year. No. These things are going to happen. You want perfect? I'm going to tell you something. Perfect doesn't exist. You know, don't make perfect the enemy of the good.
Better exists.
I don't agree. I don't agree. Not better to the American system. I have not seen it.
I couldn't buy it when people depicted Obama as a god. I mean, I don't buy it, but I don't buy it either when we depict him as the devil. For me, it's the same thing. For me, it's the same discourse.
His policies are distinctly un-American, period. You have a Department of Justice.
Well, he was elected by the people. I mean,
he was elected by the people.
It was not a coup d'etat.
He was elected by, it was an intellectual coup d'etat, because you had a media that the American people rely on to vet our candidates. And the media, in the greatest act of perfidy in American history, abandoned their role as public servant to vet our candidate. And what they became was the marketing arm of the Obama campaign. He was marketed like Diet Coke by the finest ad agency, the finest Madison Avenue ad agency in the world. He was. When I went to pick up a kid who was getting their nails done, and I'm leafing through a magazine, and there is Orlando Bloom coming out of the ocean, in his swimming trunks, and there's Brad Pitt, and there's Obama. There was a table of T-shirts, Betty Boop, and Peanuts, and Snoopy, and Obama. I mean, he was marketed as a celebrity. It was the cult of celebrity.
When people say we need to tone it down here in America, that's exactly that. I mean, why are you talking about the intellectual coup d'etat and depicting him as a communist? And it's so far-fetched.
You're calling truth extreme. I disagree with you. Truth is true.
Well, intellectual coup d'etat, yes, it is extreme.
It's an accurate depiction of exactly what happened. If it's far-fetched, I think what happened in America is far-fetched. I think what happened here is far-fetched. Don't kill the messenger.
All the problems in the United States is because of the left. Is the right able to criticize itself?
That's all we do. That's our biggest problem. We're always.
Well, I don't hear it. It's always Obama, the leftists, and the communists. And
we're always beating each other up. The biggest problem of the right is that they are afraid to stand, to have the courage of their convictions. They're constantly moving to the left. I don't consider myself right. Just so that you know, my party, my platform is individualism. Period. I speak for the smallest minority in the world, the individual. And the basic founding principle of America is individual rights.
You're against this mosque that some Muslims want to build near Ground Zero.
Yes, I am against it.
Why? I mean, do you have the right to build a mosque?
They have the right to build the mosque at Ground Zero. This is an issue of compassion. To build a 15-story mosque in a building that was destroyed in the attacks on 9/11 is deliberately provocative, deeply offensive, and insulting. And I also find it the height of hypocrisy that we in the West are constantly being schooled in this hypersensitivity in the Muslim world. But to build a 15-story mega mosque is not offensive.
But do we have a cause legally? You cannot...
No, we have a human cause. We appeal to the imam that this has caused so much grief among the 9/11 family members, the majority of which, upwards of, I think it was, according to an internal poll of the 9/11 family members, 87% are against this mosque. What a horrible, horrible reminder. And may I also add that Ground Zero is sacred ground, and it was the site of the worst attack, Islamic attack, but the worst attack on American soil. And they've robbed us of this memory now. Every time you mention Ground Zero, it's about building this mosque. What's the point of that? Wouldn't that be an enormous gesture of goodwill and healing to withdraw this mosque?
Après la pause, on continue cet entretien avec Pamela Geller.